George, touching on last Friday night, and now you've had a chance to look back and reflect on things. What are your thoughts looking back on that?
Ultimately, we weren't accurate enough. I think we created a lot. There was a lot of line breaks. There was a lot of pressure in Saracens 22. There was lots of good stuff from our game that I'm actually really pleased with. But, in the end, when you get near the line, you've got to score, and we got held up 3 times, and our line out misfired. So from that point of view, all the pressure we created was let off, which is disappointing. But, look, we've got to lick our wounds. We've got to assess it, and we've got to solve those problems. So we've had lots of good, honest meetings this week, lots of good conversations, and take the positives from it in the way we played. But, we have to understand, especially against teams like Saracens and Sale, you've got to take your opportunities.
Yeah, and clearly the boys and obviously yourself were quite deflated after that, and that's just a sign really of how well things have been going, and obviously what you expect from each other as well.
Yeah, I think we approached that game. We believe we could win that game, and believe if we played it again, we could win that game. But Saracens were very good at taking their opportunities. They had a lot less entries, but they had the first one early on, and then 3 minutes later, the bobble ball. They kick it, and ultimately they score a try. And those things they're off pressure, so you can't say they're lucky. But yeah, we were very deflated after that. I think we'd expected a tighter game. We'd expected to be in a position to win the game, which we weren't. So we've got to learn our lessons. We've got to respect how hard it is to win games in the Premiership, and we certainly got reminded of that Friday night.
Yeah, and I guess you've got to look forward and try to take some positives out of the game. And I guess one of those positives was the amount of possession that we had, and we did put them under some serious pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's loads of positives from it. We've brought in a new attack shape. We had 7 line breaks to their 0. So, if you're looking at attacking rugby, it was really good. We were in there 22 a lot. Our penalty count was very low. There's lots of good things that we did that we want to carry on, and that's been a common theme, those things, through this start of the season. But again, we have to be realistic about taking the points after all that hard work. And things like our maul have obviously been very, very powerful for us, but if you don't win the line out, you can't dominate with the maul. So there's some bits that, a little bit out of kilter for us. It's unusual for us not to deliver in those areas. So it's more about delivering a consistent game, across the board. Be real about where we weren't good enough, but also take the positives, the things we're trying to focus on. Let's keep pushing them hard.
Yeah, and I guess looking forward, one loss won't define your season. It's about sort of making sure that won't happen again.
Yeah, no, look, the Premiership is ruthless and relentless, and we saw there was a few other results on the weekend that sort of catch your eye as well, and I think that'll be the case of the Premiership this year. It's just tough. Every game's tough, and every squad wants it desperately. So, it doesn't make losing a game any easier, doesn't make it any more acceptable. But you have to learn your lessons. You have to get better from it, and you have to do that very quickly. So, we know the challenges that lie ahead. We know we've got some very tough games coming up the next few weeks, and we just got to prepare best for them.
Yeah, speaking of those tough games, then leads on quite well to this Friday night and Sale away, and that's always a tricky one.
Yeah, look, last year's losing finalists, very, very good rugby last year. Very, very well coached, good unit, and they did a great job, and they had a great start to the season, barring last week. So, they'll be licking their wounds, same as us, and they'll be disappointed with that result. So, I think they'll go away, they'll have a look at what they can get better from, and I expect it to be fierce on Friday night.
And what have you been focusing on this week, building into that Sale fixture?
Yeah, well, I like to say the important thing for us is we did a lot of good stuff on Friday night, and a loss can make you feel well. It does. It's really upsetting. So it can make you walk away and start challenging everything. But again, when you watch the game back as many times as we do, there's a lot of good stuff in there. We've got to keep pushing that, and as I say, we've got to be sharp on our fundamentals. And once we're in the right position, you have to take the points. Whichever way you choose to take the points, you have to take the points. And that's something again we just bear down on a little bit and put a focus on.
And obviously a few bumps and bangs to contend with as well. But I guess positively, there's been loads of boys getting game time this season that are ready to step up.
Yeah, I think we learnt a lot of lessons last year about bumps and bangs and people being out, and the importance of having a really competitive squad. And we've got a lot of young lads maturing, and the squad is genuinely competitive. And there's a lot of conversations for me on a Monday about why you are involved, why you're not involved, and they're all justified conversations now, whereas maybe before they weren't actually justified both ways. So I think, look, if we get it right, we'll have people coming in and out, and I'll be having loads of those conversations, and that's an important part of my job. And the more of those I have, I think the better we're building as a squad.
And obviously some boys due back from the World Cup as well, which will be nice to add to that.
Yeah, absolutely. We got lots of quality players who we haven't seen yet in the Premiership. And those guys will trickle in bit by bit, and they'll only add quality from their experience away or wherever they've been. So it's exciting from the point of view. There's a lot of names haven't been out on the pitch yet, but it's very exciting about the lads who have been playing and playing really well.
Cheers, George.
Thanks a lot.